Hello and welcome to Update 1 on Tropical Depression 19, which has just formed in the Atlantic Ocean. It's at 25.4 degrees north, 79.0 degrees west, and it's heading towards Florida, and will be heading into the Gulf of Mexico over the next couple of days. This is as of 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, this September the 11th. So let's look at more information on the storm right now. You can see again, this is as of 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 5 p.m. Central Daylight Time, 10 p.m. UTC. Winds of 35 miles per hour and a pressure of 1,009 millibars. It's moving west-northwest at about 8 miles per hour, and it's currently assessed to be a Stage 3 on the CDPS scale. So, why exactly is that? Well, we have moderate wind speed, we have moderate to significant, just touching significant rainfall, storm size is relatively low, and the overall threat to land is moderate. Again, that makes it a Stage 3, which means considerable damage is possible to areas that could get impacted by the storm. In particular, Gulfport, Mississippi looks to be the center point for this right now. This is going to shift over the next couple of days as the landfall zone appears to shift. We're not going to have a really good idea up until about 12 hours before landfall. So here is the tropical depression. As you can see, that wind field is non-existent when it comes to tropical storm force winds, but that's probably going to come up here at some point soon. There's a possibility that we get a tropical storm before this gets to Florida. As a result of that, tropical storm watches have been issued for Florida. As you can see, a tropical storm watch has been issued for the coast of southeastern Florida from south of Jupiter Inlet to north of Ocean Reef. So this is 92 miles away from Miami, 202 miles away from Key West, 280 miles away from Tampa, 664 miles away from Mobile, and about 763 miles away from New Orleans. It will be getting ever closer to all of those areas with time. So why are we running with maximum sustained winds of 35 miles per hour? Well, first of all, this has just been designated as a tropical depression. There are some surface observations in the Bahamas that support 35 miles per hour. RAM's multi-platform, though, is supporting 40 miles per hour right now, but a tropical storm upgrade has not been found justified by neither the National Hurricane Center nor Force 13. So let's take a look at the cone of uncertainty. A tropical depression is expected to strike Florida here within the next 12 hours, but that very well could be a tropical storm, hence the tropical storm watches. After that, it's expected to weaken back down to a tropical depression if it becomes a tropical storm, before re-strengthening as it heads into the Gulf of Mexico. As this happens, it could potentially become a hurricane before making landfall. Currently a 70 mile per hour landfall is expected, but the National Hurricane Center has said that an uptick in their intensity forecast is possible, if not likely, in the coming days. So with wind out of the way, what's our rainfall looking like? Well, the H-WRF, which is what this is based off of, is going awfully aggressive on rainfall here, with a rainfall total of over 50 inches there in Florida. That would be quite high. GFS and Euro really backing off, though, around 13 to 15 inches. That's currently the projected accumulation from Force 13. That's also been accounted into the CDPS. So, if rain accumulations are expected to go up as significantly as the H-WRF is predicting, you can expect a pretty significant uptick in the CDPS scale as well. So what are sea surface temperatures looking like? Well, as of 12 UTC, they're piping hot at 30 to 31 degrees Celsius, and they're going to remain that way throughout this storm's entire life. So now, what are the chances of tropical storm force winds? Well, here they are, going all the way up to 20% near Florida before we do get those 60% chance tropical storm force winds near the coast. We can see there are also some 70s popping up as we also head closer and closer to the coast. When it comes to chances of hurricane force winds, those are nowhere near as high, with only a 5 to 10% chance being depicted right now, according to NHC. But again, this could change with time. This could very well change with time. We'll just have to see what happens there. Chances could go up, and as the NHC said, their forecast will likely go up, which means those chances probably will. So, speaking of intensity, here's what the intensity forecast is from models, with the DSHP taking it up to 70 miles per hour, and a Category 1 hurricane peak from the H-WRF, a Category 2 hurricane peak from the H-MONT. So definitely something interesting to watch. We will be keeping a close eye on it over the next few days. So, let's talk about how those conditions are looking. Shear is going to slowly rise for the storm as it heads towards the Gulf Coast, with 20 to 30 knots of shear being possible, especially as it gets close to there. So rapid intensification really won't be able to occur after a couple days. Sea surface temperatures are expected to remain quite high throughout the storm's entire life. You can see that drop off there for a little bit. That's because the storm's over land. Then relative humidity also looking quite good for the storm before it will strike land. So let's take a deeper dive into that satellite imagery. You can see there on infrared a quite impressive looking tropical depression, some minus 80s and those pinks popping up there, minus 70s with those blacks, and as we get into those reds, that's minus 60s. But a quite good looking and robust tropical depression right now, and if this convection continues, again, we could see a tropical storm here before this does strike Florida. You can follow our outlets. First of all, the website, force13.com, with new articles coming out all the time for your reading pleasure about all things weather. YouTube.com/force13 with our tropical weather bulletins, animations, and tropical updates. You can also find us on Facebook with more information on those things. And then also on Twitter. We have the US branches and AU branches on there as well, but you can see the URL below. Teespring.com/store/force13. That's where you can find things like the Smug Mug to buy. And finally, the Patreon. Patreon.com/force13, where you can support the project and help it become even better.